Hi and welcome to this Key Learning Initiative video. Today's topic is factorizing and we're taking out a common bracket. Before we get going, please hit the like and subscribe buttons so that you can see more and more of my content. But let's get going with our factorizing. So when we're taking out a common bracket, it's very important. It works the same as taking out a common factor, except that we use a common bracket. So instead of an x or an x squared, we take out a whole bracket. But let's look at our examples. Example 1. Here we have 3a and then brackets x plus 1 minus 2b in brackets x plus 1. And so we ask ourselves, what is the common bracket? In this example, it's very easy. We can see that it's x plus 1. And so we write down x plus 1. Open brackets. And now we have to set up a fraction. So there's our middle line. In the denominator of our fraction, we put our common bracket, x plus 1. Now in the numerator, or the top, we put our first term, 3a x plus 1. And now we simplify. We can cancel out the common bracket. So the bottom bracket, x plus 1 goes there once, and x plus 1 goes there once. And can you see we're left with just 3a? And so we write down 3a. Then minus. Again, we set up our fraction. We put our common bracket in the denominator, and we put our second term in the numerator. And now again we cancel. So our bracket there, x plus 1, goes into itself once, and in the numerator again once. And so we have just 2b left. And we write it down. Almost finished, but we need to remember to close the bracket. Very important. So if we want to take out a common bracket, for example 1, you'll see we have x plus 1 as our common bracket, and when we've taken that out, we have 3a minus 2b. Example 2. 5, and then open brackets, 3a minus 4b, close brackets, plus 2x squared, and then in the brackets 3a minus 4b. Again, straight away we ask the question, what is the common bracket? And in this case, it's 3a minus 4b. And so straight away we write it down. And then open brackets. Now we set up our fraction. And in the denominator, or the bottom, we put our common bracket. In the top, or the numerator, we put our first term. And now we can look at cancelling. So our common bracket goes into the bottom once and into the top once. And so can you see we left with just 5. Then plus. Now again, we set up our fraction. In the denominator, we have our common bracket. In the numerator, we have our second term. And now we cancel as we've been doing. 3a minus 4b, it goes there once, and 3a minus 4b goes there once. And can you see again, we're left with just 2x squared. So we write it down. Lastly, we mustn't forget, close the bracket. And there we have our answer for example 2. Example 3. 3a into x plus 1 cubed minus 2b into x plus 1 squared plus x plus 1. So this is slightly longer, and so we're going to show our working at the bottom, not on the right hand side. So let's have a look. What is my common bracket? In my first, second and third term, you can see that it's x plus 1. although there's an x cubed and an x squared, the common bracket in all three of them, or in all three terms, is x plus 1. And so we write down x plus 1. So then, open brackets. Now again, we set up our fraction. In the denominator, we have x plus 1, and in the numerator, we have our first term. Now again, we need to simplify. So the bracket x plus 1 goes into the denominator and has 1 left over. However, in the numerator, when we're cancelling, we're going to just have x plus 1 squared. Now how do we get that, or how does that work? If you don't see, here's a bit of a simplification. So if I have x cubed over x, when I simplify, x goes there once, and x goes into x cubed x squared times. And so I have x squared over 1. And it works the same when we're dividing through by a bracket. Have a quick look. That means we can write down our first term in that bracket, and that is 3a x plus 1 all squared. Then minus. Now we set up our fraction again. In the denominator we have our common bracket, and in the numerator we have our second term. Again, we need to simplify. So x plus 1 goes into x plus 1 once, and x plus 1 goes into x plus 1 squared. So we just have x plus 1 left over. Again, let's look at a slightly more simplified version. If I have x squared over x, when I cancel, x goes into x once, and x goes into x squared x times. Have a look and see, instead of my x, I use x plus 1 in the whole bracket. That means I can now write down my second term in the bracket, and that is 2b x plus 1. Then plus, and I set up my fraction a third time. In my denominator I have x plus 1, and in my numerator I also have x plus 1. So x plus 1 into x plus 1 just gives me 1. X plus 1 into x plus 1 gives me 1 as well. And so I'm just left with 1 over 1, which is 1. Lastly, I mustn't forget to close my bracket. Just one thing to note, you don't have to show the fractions. That's just something that helps with the working out. There's no marks for it. So if you can just do it in your head, you're very welcome to. But be careful you don't make stupid mistakes. And so thank you for watching this Key Learning Initiative video on factorizing. We're taking out a common bracket. Please like and share and join my channel. Then you'd be able to get more and more content on factorizing and many other topics. I hope this has helped.